Welcome back to the Bleav in Iowa State podcast with your host Tyler Carter.
And with your host, Cody Van Ciolello.
Cody, the Cyclones are 7-0. Man, all I have to say about yesterday, we're gonna get into this game quickly, but what a game! QB1 has heart. I mean, this team is different. We've said that from the start. They have the heart of a champion, man.
hmm Yeah, this game was certainly ugly. It was there was nothing pretty about this game. I think this was probably Rocco Beck's like worst game, like passing wise, but
Hmm.
he more than made up for it on his feet. So I mean, yeah, I think pretty much this solidifies Rocco Beck as like probably the best quarterback in the Big 12, alas like Avery Johnson, or you come up with like other name, like give me another name like outside of those two, who are like the best QBs in the conference.
No, I completely agree. I think it's between them two. Um, Avery is he's coming into his own. Rocco is solidifying his status. And just I mean, and the fact that the fact that we know that we're here where we're here, we're not leaving, is people criticizing our schedule. Oh, who have you beat? Who have you beat? The teams in our schedule.
hmm Yeah, and it's all like just with that understanding that you look at our schedule. Okay, on paper, it doesn't look well. I mean, before these games, like you think about it, like you have to put some of these games like into perspective at the time they were
Hmm.
played. Going into Kinnick Stadium at number 21 Iowa, and obviously everybody brought up the fact that we've struggled. Like Matt Campbell struggled against Iowa,
Hmm.
and things like that. He was at that point like 1-6 or 1-7 against the Hawkeyes. So I mean, you have to bring that, and of course, Kinnick Stadium is like a very like underrated atmosphere. Like not a lot. I mean, unless like you're in the no college football. I feel like sometimes Kinnick Stadium flies under the radar for an atmosphere. And again, when it's your in-state rival, that brings an extra level of juice to the crowd.
Especially at 2:30 games or Kinnick at night. Kinnick at night is very, very underrated.
hmm And again, yeah, and the Iowa game, the Iowa game was on a big national TV stage, so that put even more lights under Iowa State being in that national TV slot.
Yeah, definitely. Let's take a deeper look into this game. Um, yeah, man, this box score is
Mhm.
not pretty, but I mean, let's talk about this rushing performance by UCF.
Yep.
UCF did what they wanted to do all game long. Um, they ran for a total of 350 yards rushing.
Yeah, this is exactly what they wanted to do, and this was the thing that like if UCF was going to beat Iowa State, they would have to have a run game. And I think I saw a tweet from Jake Brett mentioning that the way you beat John Heacock led defenses is big plays, and that's what UCF got on the ground. They had multiple long runs for touchdowns. I mean, yeah, RJ Harvey and Ja'Cory Brown, both with 150 plus yards with two TDs, and you see those two long runs right there. Ja'Cory Brown with a 67 yard TD run, I believe, and then an 80-yard TD run. So that's just how you beat that's how you beat this John Haycock defense. And I mean, to the credit of him again, even though this was really struggling, they still managed to keep Ja'Cory Brown from doing nothing outside of running. This team was really one dimensional, but UCF was really good at honing in on that one dimension. But you keep a team one dimensional for the whole game, then you can find a way to win, and that's what Iowa State did.
That was the difference, man. He threw those two interceptions, and those ended up being crucial interceptions in the game. Let's talk about certain drives. Certain drives, because I believe there was a few drives that stood out to me in this game. One was the drive before the touchdown, before the UCF touchdown, where we were driving downfield, and there
hmm
was that one little short pass that I believe Higgins and Noel were in the same thing. Where if Rocco puts that ball on the money, it
hmm
was an easy touchdown. I was like,
Yeah.
oh crap.
hmm And I mean, Rocco had a few of those misses as well. Like there were a few times where he puts the ball more on the money, gives his receivers a chance, and you get not just catches but even touchdowns. Because
Right.
I saw one pass where it Higgins had a completely wide open end zone, and if Rocco puts the ball on the money, puts it where his receiver can get it, that's a walk-in touchdown for Higgins. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to, and he had some like a lot of those passes were just sailing over guys, and it was just a little frustrating to see. But I mean, for this game to be like probably his worst game passing, it I don't know what else to say. Like he showed like he can win, he can contribute in multiple ways. He's not just like a passer, obviously, but he can get it done on the ground, and that's exactly what he did in this game. I mean, you look at his rushing stats: 20 carries, 97 yards, and 2 TDs, including the go-ahead touchdown with 30 seconds left to go.
Honestly, it was such a clutch performance by him, man. There were so many second or third down runs that he did that kept us in that game. Like after Carson Hansen went out, we had to basically try to manufacture a run game with him
Mm-hmm.
because really, like Abu Sama had a pretty good game in response for him coming in, and then
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Jackson was struggled once again. But
Mm-hmm.
hey, anytime we needed yards, he was able to get it, man. And everyone needed three, he got four. Or
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it was a broken play and he got 20, 25 yards run down. It was a great rushing performance by QB1.
Yeah. And then you mentioned broken plays, like not just rushing, but he was able to find a few connect like on broken plays passing. Like he had a
Mhm.
couple of great throws to his receivers. I mean, you had like I believe it was a fourth down or conversion to Higgins to get us in a position to score a TD, and then he had like another broken play passing, and Abu Sama was on the receiving end of it, which put us also in the red zone.
Yes, I believe was that the one that was that the drive that gave us the lead or
No, because we our only lead in this second half, I believe, was like right at the end here, as you can see in the win probability. But real quick, I need to take a dig at UCF. Look at that! Look at that win percentage right there.
unreal.
99.9% chance to win the game.
And that was sort of bad clock management by them at the end of the game, man.
Yeah, yeah, but to our credit, like Iowa State managed the clock better than they did because we had all three timeouts up to that point, and we were strategic with it too because we used two timeouts, like and knowing what the defense could get us. As long as we get the stop, we would be fine. And then obviously had the 2 minute timeout. So that was just, I think that was just better management by Iowa State. Just I'm thinking UCF probably wanted to run out the clock, and I think Iowa State knew that defensively. Like they knew that they were just going to run it basically the whole time because that's what's been working for them. So you hone in on that, and they were able to get that defensive stop, and then we got the go ahead TD. But yeah, the
It
drives
yeah.
you just mentioned, I don't think, yeah, we didn't take the lead because, like, I mean, after we led 14-7,
Mhm.
UCF just was all over us. Yeah, they were all over us here.
That's true.
Because they scored 21 unanswered, and then we responded with, was it a 17-7 run? Yeah. So after they scored 21 unanswered, we managed to respond back, and yeah.
A story of the season, man. Second half runs have won us this game. This team is a second half team, like we've been saying all season long. Now, obviously, we've got a lot to work on. I think yesterday really showed that the linebackers truly looked young. So I think hopefully we'll get reinforcements back during this bye week.
Yeah, I mean, I did see. I mean, Kale Brazino was out there. Cooper Evil was out there. They were playing. I don't think Jacob. I wonder did Jacob Ellis step onto the field.
He was a rotation guy, but it
Okay,
was Cooper Ebel, Kale Brzina, and uh
I think it was Ryland Barnes was one of the starters.
yes,
Yeah,
Rylan
Ryland.
Barnes. Yeah,
So I
Rylan
mean, yeah, again, yeah, that inexperience of linebackers, like the youth of the linebackers, was really like that. I think that's exactly what kind of UCF capitalized on. And
hmm
but I mean, to their credit, they got the necessary stops. They got support from the D line and the secondary, obviously.
Now, do you possibly see the run defense being an issue in the future or no?
I mean, looking at our schedule here, yeah, I mean, I could be a little concerned. Texas Tech. I mean, you play Texas Tech. They have Taj Brooks, and that could be something that I could be worried about. But what I've seen out of Texas Tech, they have no defense. They just got almost 60 points put on them by Baylor, who we shut down at home.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
the thing,
I'm
man.
not. Yeah, that's I'm not too concerned about that because all we have to do is we just have to outpace them.
Outpace them, like, and jump up on them because usually they like to they're not good at coming back from behind. So like if we jump on them early and play clean football, um, we I think we'll be able to put a stranglehold on them. Obviously, this wasn't our most clean game, but the good thing about these type of wins, man, I just with like I said, I we would be 7-0, and just the fact that we actually are 7-0, man. And with next week's game in 2 weeks, and the Tuesday after that is when the first college football playoff rankings come out. It's sort of I have a feeling that like this could be a much more special season than what we actually thought.
Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely special. Being 7-0, like I think the crowd, like, it was just like this was just one of those nights that you need, like, you if you were there, you would have, like, you'll never forget it. This is just one of those nights because being inside the stadium, you could tell, like, there was something in the air. I didn't know what it was until, like, the game was over, but if there was just something special. And that so being in there when Rocco Beck snuck in for the TD at the end of the game to win the game, the crowd just spiked. It was just so loud. I don't know the exact, like, decibel meter, but it had to have been like in the hundred, like the higher, like hundreds, maybe 110s.
Dude, I mean, yeah, cause like Eric called me and I'm like, bro, he's like, dude, he is like, I wish you were here, man, but because the stadium, because it looked like from the TV that the stadium was shaking. I was like, holy crap.
The camera was shaking on the broadcast, and I think part of it, like, has to do with I remember this quote a while ago from Chris Williams talking about basketball. The number one mistake you can make playing Iowa State is making the fans angry. And that's what kind of happened in this game because throughout the game, UCF got away with quite a few penalties. They got
For sure,
away
dude.
with a few penalties that were not called. Now, I need to call out the fans who are now saying that all of a sudden we needed the refs or whatever, like that some all of a sudden that we're the ones that needed the refs to win that game. I'm sorry, but that's just ridiculous. But it's at the same time hilarious because look how 180 it is because Iowa State used to be the team that got screwed by the refs.
Oh, you guys won too much.
Well, now all of a sudden they're turning around saying we got bailed out, we benefited from the refs. Actually, no, we didn't. Like, because that one DPI at the end of it, like on that last drive, that was like I think that's textbook. That was a textbook DPI. Because I mean, you look at the way the UCF defender was on Jaden Higgins. That's textbook. Now, if you want to call that one a little questionable, okay, then there were many other times where there was a plausible cause for DPI that was not called, and UCF got away with it. So
Oh
those kind
yeah.
of cancel each other out.
Well, there was that one play where there was a clear, blatant holding, and they let that play go. I'm like, dude, UCF literally is holding our guy to the ground so they can't move. I'm like, what are you doing?
Hmm.
It was so infuriating.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
something else on the officiating, there are quite a few late hits that should have been called because there were a couple of times in that game where our players were out of bounds, and they still, like, there was like like they got hit late.
I agree. Yeah,
So.
man, it was such a mess. I'm not really a big fan of that crew. That crew that we had yesterday is usually the crew that usually screws us over in big games. I
Mhm.
think that was the crew that we had for the Big 12 championship game in 2020.
Oh, that, yeah, I think I remember it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I mean, Iowa State found a way to win in spite of it too, and I think that just played into the emotion and the loud, like how loud the crowd got because it was like a relief just from all like the pent up frustration of watching the game and to see us come out on top. Like it felt satisfying. It felt like we were vindicated.
Right, and like in like bro, this season is so similar to 2020 in different ways. It's just
Hmm.
that now that all these moments that we've like lived through, we can actually experience it in a full stadium. Because
Hmm.
this game to me was just like the Baylor game in 2020, to
Oh yeah.
where Iowa State came back and we ended up winning and got interception to seal it with Mike Rose. But man, Tez again, man, his fourth
Hmm.
interception in 4 games, bro.
Yeah. Not just four. Yeah, four straight. Like that. That just shows you how much talent the secondary has. Like it's crazy that in a secondary that includes Jeremiah Cooper, Malik Verdon, Miles Purchase, Darren Porter. We're talking about John Tez Williams.
Hmm.
That secondary is like the best in the country. They showed like why they limited UCF to what was it, only 62 yards passing. Like again, we get it. Their quarterback's not the greatest at passing, but it's still the fact that you hold a power four QB to 62 yards of passing and pick him off twice.
Right. I
And
mean, it's absolutely amazing.
mhm, yeah. And then other highlights we want to go to Jalen Knoll, 8 receptions for 153 yards. He had himself a pretty nice game. He got himself a couple of really nice catches, including the one deep pass that almost looked like what happened in the Iowa game when Rocco Beck connected to Jalen Knoll and the guys were running up because they were urgent. They had like the sense like the urgency to get down to the field and manage the clock. I think something that has been worked that's worked so well for us, and I think very glad to have like that kind of leadership from Rocco Beck and of course Jalen Knoll.
Completely agree, man. That was a great drive. The clock management, players having awareness, to get out of bounds when they need to be.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful thing to watch.
So yeah, it's just a great day for Iowa State. 4-0 in conference now for the first time in program history. How about that?
How about that, man? We just got to keep climbing. I'm a big believer in this team, bro.
Mm-hmm.
We're like they said they're done with season 2. Season 3 starts in a few weeks. Bye
Yeah.
week, Texas Tech, and then we got KU at
Yeah.
Arrowhead.
Yeah. But realistically looking at it, I think the rest of the season we have 4 out of the 5 they're de facto home games because 3 of the 5 are traditional home games for us, and then
Mhm.
at Arrowhead that's going to essentially turn into Jack Tri South because I don't know if you saw the photo of like the attendance for was it Houston,
Mhm.
Kansas? That was pitiful.
It was awful.
That was so bad. That was about the same attendance as they were in the MLS stadium that they played, and that actually I think that actually got Kansas revenue. So I was talking about this with some other buddies. Turns out that Kansas is not getting much revenue out of playing at Arrowhead because they shafted themselves in the contract negotiations because they did it so late.
Hmm.
They had no time, so they basically just bent over backwards to even play in the stadium, and it's not really working out for them. But hey, at least you beat Houston. Congratulations, you beat Houston.
Right, and apparently they just released tickets to go on sale today. So, yeah, if you want to get your ticket, get it today.
All right, where can Iowa State fans get them?
Get them on Ticketmaster.
Do you know what they're going for right now? To be
I,
exact.
I saw I saw on Twitter feed hours ago it was like $73.
So,
So, Cody, if it's affordable and if it's within your price range, I will come and scoop you on the way down
all
to
right.
Kansas City.
All right. Yeah, all right. I'll take a look at that.
All right. So, to move on, I think that was a very lengthy preview. Let's look at the action on Saturday, man, because
Mm-hmm.
it was great, man. It was a
Yeah.
great Saturday of football once again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. First, take a look around the Big 12. You had the Friday Night Lights matchup between Oklahoma State and BYU. Now, you notice something with the score here?
We won in the same score that they did.
in the same fashion as well because Oklahoma State, I think, yeah, they held up 35, like 30 lead late. I'm gonna take a look here. Oh, they no, they led 35-31, but still similar circumstances. Road team desperately needing a win is coming in like, and they're up late on you with like however many seconds left in the fourth, late in the fourth, towards the end of the game, and then the home team ranked is able to get a drive and able to punch it in and win the game. So talk about that.
Yeah, man, and they both scored with like about 30 seconds left. It
Mm-hmm.
the I think these might is it too early to say that these teams might both be teams of destiny and might be just destined to face each other and make those rivalries.
Honestly, that would be a fun matchup. Iowa State and BYU. That would be a really actually be a fun matchup if that does happen in Arlington. Oh, Utah and Kansas State fans are going to hate that, especially this one guy. So this one guy on Twitter is a Wildcat, Kansas State Wildcat, and a Utah Ute fan. That would make my day seeing how mad that guy would be if Iowa State and BYU was to make it to Arlington.
Yeah, man. I mean, I love the arrogance of K State fans thinking that, oh yeah, we're gonna run through the schedule and we're gonna beat Iowa State. I'm like, okay, keep believing that. Oh, y'all didn't look that good. Neither have you guys. Um, but who have you played? And these people are the main culprits of oh yeah, y'all didn't play anybody. I'm like, okay, keep saying all that stuff, keep doubting us, and then when you get beat again, then you're gonna be coming up with excuses on why you didn't beat us. But anyways, yeah,
Yeah. Wait, and look at the QB stats. 200 passing yards, 2 TD. Well, yeah, and 2 picks. Both the fact that both QBs threw 2 picks in this game, and they both ran as well. There are so many parallels in the.
what
But
in the
yeah,
world?
I it's literally the Spider-Man meme. I saw this yesterday. It was funny seeing that come to life.
This is unreal. Like the Big 12 this year is unreal. I
Mhm.
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah. Speaking of the Big 12, Kansas State putting a drubbing on West Virginia, 45-18. Avery Johnson had a really nice game, almost 300 yards passing at 3 touchdowns. DJ Giddens got himself 19 carries for 57 yards and 2 touchdowns, and then Jackson with 2 receptions, 84 yards and a touchdown. This was just a Kansas State. This was just them asserting themselves still being alive in the race, and they just walked in to Milan Puskar and just absolutely drubbed West Virginia. But I mean, at halftime, it looked close. Like it was what a 7 point, yeah, 7 point game in the halftime, and then Kansas State just pulled away.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas State is rounding into form. They're becoming the team that everybody thought they would be. So it's going to be interesting to see how strong because Kansas State's going to finish strong. Like we all thought that they were going to be a contender in the Big 12. It's just a matter of when Avery Johnson would grow up and become the quarterback that everybody thought he would be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Cincinnati is watch out for Cincinnati. They've been a sleeper in this league, getting
Yeah,
the ten
man,
point win over Arizona State.
that game sandwiched in between KU and Utah. We thought that game was going to be like a an easy game, but man, no. They're going to be ready to come in there into Jack Trice November 16th. We got to be ready for that one.
Mm-hmm.
And Tyson Vite will be there, so he knows this offense, knows our play, knows our personnel, so we
Mm-hmm.
got to be ready for that one.
Yep. And then yeah, I alluded to earlier, Kansas putting a drubbing on Houston, 42-14. I don't maybe I'm speaking too crazy to talk, but has Jalen Daniels finally found some form?
Who knows? Who knows? Maybe he found form. Maybe it was just Houston.
Yeah. Then then taking a look at the rest of the games here. Colorado absolutely drubbing Arizona.
Yeah, man. Colorado is confident, man. We all thought that they were going to be horrible this year, but congrats on Prime on make like the key. We said the key for Colorado was going to be the Lions. The Lions have played a lot better,
Hmm.
and if you look at their next 5 games, they could easily probably win 7 or 8 games. So they're definitely the Buffs are going to make a bowl game this year.
Yeah. Taking a look here. Cincinnati. This is actually going to be intriguing to watch. Colorado hosting Cincinnati. I'm actually excited for this. Like, who would have thought at the beginning of the year, Colorado Cincinnati would be an exciting matchup to watch? But here we are.
Yeah, and that's Big 12 after dark too. So I'm gonna have to stay up for that one.
All right. Well, hey, we're on the bye week, so we can just sit back and watch all the college football we want, and we don't have to worry about a dang thing.
I love it, man. I love it.
Hmm. And we get to probably my favorite name for a rivalry, the Butt Bowl between Baylor and Texas Tech.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This was shocking, bro. 59-35 Baylor. Baylor has a lot more fight than what I thought they would. So congrats to Baylor on getting a huge win on the road.
Yeah, I'm thinking this might have honestly saved Dave Aranda's job. So 'cause he needed something like this, and he needed a big win, and I think he made a statement on Texas Tech, and actually gave Texas Tech their first conference loss of the year.
Yeah, and then this doesn't bode well for Tech, especially with the aspirations that they had
Hmm.
going into the season. They're still in the race, but losing by 24 to a bitter rival like this is not a good thing, especially when they play Colorado. Their next 2 games are Colorado, and they got Iowa at Iowa State. So
Hmm. Yeah, well, they do have
oh
TCU
TCU,
sandwiched.
okay.
Yeah, they do have TCU sandwiched in there. So is that the battle for the saddle? I believe it. I remember is the name. So that's gonna be something else to watch for because TCU. TCU's actually starting to find something here. Yeah, that segues perfectly in our final game for the Big 12 slate. TCU getting a massive win at Utah. I mean, it was an ugly game, but hey, this was a massive win for TCU, and they're 2-2 in the conference. So,
It was a big win for big win for them. So like you know Utah or not, yeah, and Utah just still keeps reeling.
mhm.
So
Yeah, I mean Isaac Wilson, not too great of a game. Barely 200 yards passing, had a TD, but also was picked off. And then Josh Hoover was yeah, Josh Hoover had himself an okay game. 22 of 41 for 263 yards, so not too bad. Savion Williams with 7 carries for 72 yards. And McAllister for two receptions for 57 yards, so not too bad of a day. And then Josh Hoover got himself a yeah 1 yard touchdown. So there we go.
yeah, Utah is reeling, and a lot of people are saying, is Utah even going to win a game for the rest of the year now?
Yeah,
What
I
a
mean,
fall! What
yeah, I
a
mean,
fall, bro!
yeah, I mean, after going 4-0, they've lost three straight, and they haven't scored more than 20 points in those losses. 10 against Arizona, 19 against Arizona State, 7 versus TCU, and 2 of those games were at home.
Hmm.
Like Rice Eccles Stadium, I don't know. I still need to see like what happens like against BYU because if they win that game, then I'm holding on to like Rice Eccles being a difficult place to play. But from those last 2 home games, doesn't look like it. But we'll have to see what they do in the Holy War. Let's see if maybe the Holy War can light a fire under them.
Yeah, usually rivalry games will get you juiced up, especially with an undefeated BYU coming in there and a chance to ruin their season. Like,
Yeah. Yep.
because I mean, they win that, and then the BYU will be in a cluster with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Yep. All right. So that's Big 12 done out of the way. Let's go take a look around the country. You see what's going around here. Let's see. Obviously, you've got some G5 action, so nothing too crazy here. I mean, New Mexico State and Louisiana Tech going to 2 overtimes. That's something to look for. But then after that, Marshall over Georgia State. And then I forgot there was ACC action on Thursday. I'll be honest. I completely forgot this game happened.
Oh, Florida State Duke. Yeah, Florida State is man. Their struggle bus continues.
Oh,
And
yep.
Duke is somehow 6-1.
What? Wait, let me take a look at the schedule. Let's take a look at it. Oh, they beat a nobody. Okay, Northwest.
They got SMU, Miami, and then NC State. I mean, they can finish 10-2.
Do you think they split? SM,
Oh, are they at my? They
they're
could.
they're at Miami.
SMU, yeah, SMU has been playing good, man. But there's a possibility to do it. There's just path for them to make to the ACC title game.
How about who would have thought Duke being in the race for the ACC title? What? What?
Yeah, the ACC is just as crazy as the Big 12, man. I don't even know what.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. When college football has chaos, I am all here for it because I'm not one of these like old corporate shills that just care about the tradition of the blue bloods like Alabama, Notre Dame, Georgia, Texas, LSU. You know those guys. I'm not one of those people. Okay,
Nah,
I
not me neither. This is why, like, when you have teams like Indiana and Iowa State in the top 10, like, I mean, that's what I'm here for. You have
mhm.
smaller teams that are traditionally non-winning teams that are good. That's good for college football.
Yeah.
But man, Texas, Texas learned a lesson on Saturday. Texas thought they were SEC ready. Not quite. Georgia came in there and got a huge win on the road, beat Texas
Hmm.
by 15.
Yeah, and I mean, this was just an like for both offense, like for both core, like overall, this thing was just like, what was it, a turnover? Like there was just a mess of a game in multiple ways. Look at the total turnovers between these teams. Three fumbles lost by Texas and a pick. Meanwhile, Carson Beck 3 picks.
Wow.
This was ugly. But I mean, that's probably not even the ugliest thing about this game. Yeah, you had like the big controversy during the game where Texas was initially called for like it was a defensive holding, and it was absolutely not, but they called it, and boy, did the fans not they did not like it at all.
I mean, it actually they were throwing stuff on the field that they caused it to overturn it. I was like,
Hmm.
wow. I didn't know throwing things on the field causes you to overturn a call.
Yeah, but that was just wild to see. They had to delay the game because of the amount of trash that got thrown on the field. You had Steve Sarkisian walk over to the students section, imploring them to chill out and stop. Like that's just how crazy, like that. I think that's just how crazy that game overall was. But I mean, it didn't do much to light a fire on Texas, even though they got a touchdown after that. But
Right.
they just couldn't keep up with Georgia. And I mean, look at that! Look at that first half, 23-0. Now, I think they did this. Yeah, they did something like this to Alabama, where they went up 28-0. But
Hmm.
unlike the Alabama game, Georgia was able to finish off Texas.
Right. So yeah, they Georgia controlled the game from the jump. Like
Mm-hmm.
Texas, I mean, and the fact that they had him and Manning seeing ghosts, like that was the key to the game. They were able to control it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's just only one of the big chaos things of chaos that happened Saturday. You had Miami get tested by Louisville, 1-7. So Miami once again.
Yeah, Miami escapes once again, and they got gifted by another crazy call once again, another controversial call once again, to where it looked like he fumbled, but they ruled it incomplete, and they went down and scored.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know how Miami keeps doing this. Babe, how do they keep getting away with this?
Yeah, yeah, that clip. I love that clip. That's just perfect. I swear. I think Marco. I think what was it? I think if Miami didn't win the game, I think Ed Reed would have been somewhere ready to clock the rep. Ed Reed somewhere was probably like lurking around, ready to clock whoever he needed to. Had Miami lost that game.
Yeah, That's the thing. That a lot of their old alum are always on the sidelines.
Hmm.
So.
You would have seen Ed Reed just pull up the shoulder pads one more time just for that. All right. Yeah, let's go check out the third Saturday in October. Some more top ranked action here. Alabama and Tennessee going right down the wire in the second half. Tennessee able to pull the win out from Alabama's grasp, and Tennessee has positioned themselves right back into the SEC championship race, and it's looking wide open now. The race is wide open right now.
I mean, we got next week, next Saturday, we got A&M and LSU for control of the SEC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, A&M being them and LSU being the two like the last standing undefeated in the SEC.
Yeah, I mean, look at it, and Texas also has look who Texas faces, and look who's right behind them in the standings.
Oh, imagine if yeah, I think this is probably like if they got to this day and A&M is still right like A&M still undefeated in SEC play. Texas is still a one-loss team in SEC play.
Well, look at their next game.
Oh, Vanderbilt. You know what's crazy? I think I'm going to say this is a scorching hot take. I think Texas overlooked Georgia for Vanderbilt. Wait.
You know Texas has an all-time losing record to Vanderbilt, right?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. You know what? We need to send College Game Day to Nashville right now. We need to send College Game Day to Nashville just for this purpose.
Oh man,
Up the
that
Commodores.
that would be great if they beat Texas and Alabama in the same season. That'd
I
be
Bleav.
amazing.
Wait. I think it would be the same month as well. Let me just check the schedule. Wait, because this day would have been yeah, it would be in the same month. Oh, God, gotta love Vanderbilt. That's great.
Oh man,
But yeah,
yeah,
back to Tennessee, Alabama. Tennessee, I think their path is looking pretty good because I mean they got Kentucky and Mississippi State up next, and then Georgia.
yeah. I mean, a lot of these games are gonna be these next few games for the SEC are definitely gonna be elimination games. So I think these next 3 weeks we're going to be rounding into form who will possibly be a part of the playoff discussion.
Yep. And then further going down some ranked matchups, LSU taking care of business against Arkansas, Clemson absolutely drubbing Virginia,
Hmm.
winning by 17. Notre Dame taking care of business against Georgia Tech. I mean, I give credit to Notre Dame. I have to, I guess. I mean, after that Northern Illinois loss, they're still winning. I mean, as long as they run the table, they can probably find themselves as an at large in the playoffs. So we'll have to live with that, but I'm not too worried. Texas A&M, like we mentioned earlier, taking care of business against Mississippi State, still undefeated in conference play, and then
You got to give
Indiana.
credit to
Yep.
give credit. Yeah, Dak was in attendance for that game actually. Those Cowboys bye week. Dak was in attendance for the for the Mississippi State A&M game.
I hope he didn't teach Mississippi State how to turn the ball over. Oh, well, but hold on. Okay.
It's that actually.
Sure, but yeah. Just back to don't know what happened there. Might have had some difficulty. I'm not sure what happened, but anyways, let's talk about the rest of the slate here. Indiana absolutely dropping Nebraska.
56-7. I think this was the most shocking result. I thought this was going to be a much closer
Mm-hmm.
game, but man, Indiana is a machine right now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Kurt Sonetti's got the boys looking great.
Yeah, and fun fact, game day is going to be in Bloomington next week.
Ooh.
So I
Okay.
believe that's their first time hosting for football.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I guess they did earn it. I mean, you forced Dylan Raiola to throw 3 picks and cash in on all of them while forcing 3 fumbles and recovering 2 of them. So
Yeah.
they Nebraska just they just couldn't stop turning the ball over. Like you're never gonna win games when you turn the ball over 5 times.
Right. Yeah, anytime you lose to a turnover battle like that, you're never gonna win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Looking at us. Yeah. Total yards, there's quite the disparity. Yeah, between rushing. Yeah. The rushing yards, that was another disparity. 215 to 70. I mean, you play balanced football like this, you're winning most games. You play
Oh
balanced. Yeah. So Indiana keeps on moving up, and it's wild to see. But here we are.
I have a humor score that we gotta talk about.
Mhm.
Oklahoma gets destroyed at home, 35-9 by South Carolina.
Oh no! Oh no!
Man, this is a definition of the grass is not always greener on the other side.
You had it all, Oklahoma.
We had it all,
You had the
Oklahoma.
accolades. You had the championships here in the Big 12, and football wise. I mean, but you decide to ride on the coattails of Texas, and now you're 4-3, being 1-3 in the conference. I mean, this game was bad for Oklahoma. I mean, total yards they led and more first downs, but the turnovers, 4 turnovers forced by that South Carolina defense.
Man,
Yeah.
yeah, their defense came to play today.
Hmm.
Jeez.
I mean, they knew they should have won. Like they knew they could win that game. They could have won that game against Alabama. They knew. So I think they kind of took out some of that momentum, some of that anger out on Oklahoma, and well, there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then just Mizzou squeaking out a win against Auburn, SMU destroying Stanford, Illinois in in those awful uniforms. They're kind of on the same level as ours. Like I'll have to say, but it's the fact that they ripped off of us. I'll say it right now. They ripped off all our uniforms.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Army and Navy continuing to take care of business, and I'm loving the fact that I'm seeing like Army and Navy both ranked in the AP poll, and I'll leave. And then yeah, just let me see if I can find it. Where is it? Oh yeah, the AP poll. Yeah, right here. This actually just came out earlier today, just a couple hours ago. Oregon's now the new top dog in the country. Georgia with come boosting themselves up to second after that win over Texas and DKR. Penn State and Ohio State didn't move much. I believe they were both on bye week, so
Yeah.
they just stayed. Texas falls 4 spots to number 5. Miami stays at number 6. Tennessee moves themselves up 4 spots to be that number 7 team. LSU, I believe, is on. Well, yeah, they took care of business, so they just stayed. Clemson and Iowa State actually swapped spots. Now, I do understand why though, so I can't really be mad at us being number 10. We're still top 10. We're right next to BYU. Indiana keeps on climbing, number 13 in the country. Alabama falls 8 spots to number 15 in the country.
Wow.
Hmm. And welcome to the AP top 25 Vanderbilt. Imagine this world.
Hey.
Imagine a world where you have Illinois, Army, Navy, and Vanderbilt all ranked in the AP poll. Somebody wake me up. It's like, what is this season?
Wake me up, and then you got us and BYU on top of the Big 12. Like, what
Mhm.
is this bizarre world?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, speaking of yeah, let's just go through. Yeah, so yeah, Big 12. It's a 2-horse race, I believe, right now. It's a 2-horse race between BYU and Iowa State. They don't play each other, so they both control their destinies to Arlington. Let's see if I can
I
find
mean,
it.
that's why that win was huge, man. Like, We
for both
separated
teams.
ourselves. Now we're yeah, because man, it would just be if they both would have lost, it would have been just a huge cluster of 3-1 teams.
Yep. Uh, who would have thought Indiana and Oregon, well, Penn State, all being undefeated, but Indiana on top of the conference. Look at that beauty right there.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful, man.
Let's go SEC. There you go. Texas A&M and LSU, the last remaining undefeated. See how that turns out. The ACC, four teams undefeated. Clemson is, I'm going to say it right now, Clemson is probably like, it's them or Miami that's going to win the conference, unless you somehow have chaos and SMU and Pitt end up in the ACC championship game.
And the thing is, SMU and Pitt play each other on November 2nd. So,
So that won't last too long.
right.
Oh, hi, Florida State. All right. But yeah, that's just a long recap of this chaotic day of college football, and just simply what a weekend. And I'm ready to go, ready to wind up, get relaxed up for 1 week, and then we're right back into Cyclone football in 2 weeks' time for homecoming against Texas Tech.
Yes, sir. Stay tuned. We're actually gonna be have a very very loaded week. I'm gonna actually gonna have my friend Logan Hayes on. We're gonna call it the Bleav in Iowa State Basketball Spectacular. We're gonna get
Ooh, okay.
out, yeah, a lot more more of a deep dive on the basketball team, and I'm gonna have Eric on. We're gonna do a recruiting episode
Hmm.
again.
Yeah.
About there were a lot of recruits there. I Bleav that Mason Ellens was there, the corner from
Hmm.
Illinois,
Yeah. I
close to
mean,
where I live.
yeah. I mean, not to mention, Charlie Kohler's younger brother was in attendance as well for the game last night. So yeah, just yeah, a lot of this was a great time. I saw a lot of recruits from different sports as well for Iowa State, so they definitely got themselves a really nice game to be at. But yeah, very excited for that. Very see what's going on with basketball in general because it's looking like a very good year for just athletics in general.
Yeah. Stay tuned. We're gonna have a loaded week. We'll have plenty of content for you through this bye week. So once again, like we always do at the end of the show, he can be reached at Matt Campbell Impersonator. On Twitter, I am at SciTie Guy. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So for Tyler Carter,
And for Cody Van Ciello,
this is the Bleav in Iowa State podcast. Roll clones, baby.
top 10 Cyclones.